Welcome to the Chain Out Podcast with your hosts, Jeremy and Daryl.
Hey everyone, Happy New Year! We've got
New
classy
Year.
New Year here, and
Happy New Year, Jeremy.
Happy New Year, Daryl. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Does this look okay?
It looks fantastic. You feel it feels like you're glowing, my friend.
Right? And it's not giving me a headache or a migraine or anything like that.
No, not at all.
That's the problem with these glasses, is you can actually see it reflecting back in your, well, I guess because I'm wearing actual glasses underneath. I don't know if it's reflecting on the glasses, but all I can see is these bright blue lights flashing in my eyes.
So, if you were given a sum of money that you would enjoy, how long do you think you could actually keep those glasses on your face?
Oh, I mean, I'll do quite a lot for money.
You heard it here first. There's a soundbite for the clip for the episode. Well, everyone, welcome to Season 2, Episode 59. This is our New Year's episode. If you can't tell, I've tried to dress a little fancier for the occasion. Yeah, this is what I think fancy looks like. So you can go back to the YouTube video and check that out.
Reduce, reuse, recycle. I used the same same setup that I used last year.
That's awesome. Well, I couldn't find my 2024 gear. Man, I just want to stop right there, Daryl, and say, can you believe it? We were actually looking for our New Year's paraphernalia from our last New Year's episode. Like, I can't believe it.
Yeah. But you know what? Forethinking, or foreshadowing, I guess. Last year, when I bought all the stuff for the Halloween or for the New Year episode, I remember thinking, don't buy stuff that, because I think there was a set of glasses that had like 2024.
Right.
Instead of the Happy New Year. And I remember thinking, don't pigeonhole yourself in 2024. We know we're going to be doing this next year as well. So that's why I went with the generic Happy New Year, because I knew that I could keep using it every year, thinking that we'd be doing it every year. So back then I knew that we'd be still at it a year later.
Well, that's going to say, people might think I'm the happy-go-lucky one, but you're Mr. Positive. You're always looking at our future and seeing a bright one. So that's amazing for sure. So
do you think people have had enough
Hmm?
of the flashing lights now? Should I take them off?
Yeah, it's getting to me. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Okay. Can actually put my headset on properly as well. Okay. As much as I like the New Year, it's coming off.
All right, sounds good. And I'm going to tell everybody, at this point here, it's the holiday season. It's kind of starting to wrap up a little bit. You're probably full of cheer. You're probably full of family. But the one thing we know you're never full of is disc golf. And we're going to bring you Canadian disc golf today. That's my tagline. What do you think about that one, Daryl?
It's awesome. I thought you were going to say you're never full of chain out.
No, never full of chain out.
Exactly. That's a very nice drink you're drinking there, Jeremy. I'm drinking just a plain coffee, and I'm not going to lie to you and say that there's no Baileys in it.
Oh, okay. And I was going to say, I don't always drink Starbucks iced vanilla lattes on New Year's Eve, but when I do, I put them in fancy glasses. Not a sponsor.
Right. But we're open to offers.
When we watched, when we did our last episode, which was our Christmas episode, that was the one where we looked back on 2024, and we thought we would use this episode, the New Year's one, to start looking forward to 2025.
Mm-hmm.
But before we do that, I really can't take us into 2025 without reflecting on something that happened last week for you when we were out, and it was a big accomplishment. I think it was heard around the world, maybe. You share with our listeners, my friend.
If I'm going by views, it was at least by 500 people.
Oh, there you go. 500? Or is that in different views, or do you think maybe the same person could have watched that a couple times?
Yeah, I don't know if it counts. If it's on loop, on repeat, that's pretty much where it is. I've got it as a background screensaver on my phone. I've got it everywhere. If anybody comes into the house, any new person I meet, I show them. So
Well, I
show
think
you?
you might have even just had an iPad sitting at the front door, just streaming it on loop.
Exactly. Should we show everybody what we're talking about, Jeremy?
Yeah, we should tell them what we're talking about.
Okay, so you may have seen this version somewhere else. You may have seen it on Instagram, but not. Wow, I guess 500 people saw the raw version on YouTube. So that's the version we're going to show you right now. So listen carefully.
Even if you're doing audio, you'll be able to hear what's happening here.
Yeah.
Maybe Daryl can do a play-by-play.
So a nice. Well, I'm just going to play it first.
Yeah! Wow! That is.
So I'm just going to play it again because now that
Yeah,
you've
just-
heard it, so now I'll give you the play-by-play. So it started off with a nice close-up on our new Cardinal sponsor. I approached the T-pad on 13 with my rock.
Yeah!
Hole 13, rock straight down the fairway, and out of my hand, I knew that it had a chance. Okay, out of my hand, I knew that it had a chance. It felt good. The flight looked good. We were recording it, and genuinely, it was the first throw. It wasn't like a setup. We didn't do an ace run or anything like that. That was actually my throw for the round that we were doing. And yeah, out of my hand, it felt good. Straight to the basket. You zoomed in perfectly. And then, amazingly, we caught the audio as well, hitting the chains for the ace on 13 at Hermitage.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing I want to add to it, Daryl, which wouldn't be shown in the video, was we stepped up to that tee. And we practiced ace running that before with no success. And I had said, I'm going to take out my MV and I'm going to ace this thing, is what I said. So I threw out my NV, and what did I do? I kind of buzzed the tower a little bit, and we were oohing and on a bit about that. And then you stepped up and you said, I said, what are you going to throw? Are you going to throw like your arrow or your zero or something like that? I threw a putter, and you're like, well, I aced it last time with a rock.
Yeah.
I've got a different rock in my bag. And I said, well, are you going to ace it with every rock you have? Bam. There it goes.
There you go. Yeah. First ace on that hole. So that brings me up to a total of 3 now. Yeah. You kind of jumped ahead with 3 earlier this year. Now I've caught you back up again with 3. Aced it with my DX rock, which has the sweet chain out die on it by myself. But I just got a new G-Star rock somewhere in my bag. Not G-Star, Star rock. Thought I'd break it in. And what better way to break it in than, I guess now this is my favorite hole. I've aced it
Yes,
twice
it has to
with
be.
both rocks. So, yeah.
No, that's awesome. And I guess for people out there who want to know, when it comes to aces, like you said, we're now tied. Chain out is tied. 3 aces, 3 aces.
Yep.
And something else happened with that round there, because up until that point on that day, chain out was all you looked it up. What were we? We were when you looked at UDisc?
So if you go on to UDisc, you click on somebody's name, it'll give you your head-to-head stats against that person. And I think you'd even said that now I kind of jumped up on your, like when you select your player, I jumped up at the, I jumped up the list because we've played so many rounds together. So we played, I can't do the math, but we'd actually played 29, you'd won 29 rounds, I'd won 29 rounds, and we had tied 9 rounds. So we were tied going into that round. I put it out on social media about what we should do for a playoff to see who was going to win. You know, we had a lot of different suggestions. I thought it would be good to go and play a course blind. That way, neither of us has an advantage. It's kind of, even across the playing field. But I figured we'd wait until it warmed up a little bit to try and settle that score. So we went out on... when did we go out? It wasn't Saturday. It was earlier this week, but I forget which day. But we went out, and it turned out that now Daryl has 30 wins. Jeremy's still on 29, and we still have those 9 ties. So I took the lead there. But once we get to spring and once it warms up a bit, I'm sure you'll claw a few back, and we'll be tied. And then we'll have to have the playoff. hole.
The official
course.
shakedown.
Yeah,
Maybe for,
exactly.
you know what, I think we were at 58 or 59 matches together. I can't remember what, like you said, is what the thing was. Is maybe with those ties, it was even more. Maybe we should pick like an epic number when we get to our 75th battle against each other or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Who knows? But, you know, and then of course you couldn't say, Jeremy, well, you know, I've taken you over with our head-to-head battle, but you can continue to keep the higher amount of aces. No, you had to go out in that round and tie that up too.
And the amazing thing was, and I felt bad for you in some way, right on the previous hole on 12, we were talking about how good our drives were. We're far exceeding what we were doing earlier in the beginning part of the year. Our drives were getting up near the basket. You kind of pulled one a little bit to the right, but you were pin high, but you were stuck behind these trees on 12. You channeled your inner Miguel forehand chip shot around the trees into the basket for a birdie, and it was an amazing shot. And it was like, oh my God, how did you pull that out? That was amazing. And then right on the very next hole, I go in ace. So it kind of quashed your excitement a little bit, but you know, it was still a great shot. But unfortunately, we didn't record that.
No, we didn't get that one, because we were never expecting that to happen. That's for sure. But hey, before we keep going on and doing some more things that we wanted to do for this episode, when we met up, you had given me a gift and you had said, Jeremy, I don't want you to open this gift. This is a gift for the podcast. So you need to open it up on the podcast.
Right.
So I have that here. Should we do that?
I think we should. For people who don't know, it was Jeremy's birthday as well. This isn't your birthday. I guess, is this what you get all the time? You get a, you might want to read that out for people that are listening.
Yeah. Just looking here at the dedication on the gift there, the tag, it says, to J Pow, the greatest co-host from DJ. So there you go. Yeah. But yes, continue on.
So you probably get a lot of, this is your birthday and Christmas present. You kind of get a lot of combo presents, I'm guessing.
That's happened in the past, and people have always said, oh, that must suck. You only get one present at Christmas time. And I've always said, you know, people will sometimes put a little bit more into the gift because they know they're buying you. So you might get something that you would never get on one holiday alone, but you end up getting it because it's 2 holidays together. But,
yeah, that's fair.
All right, here we go.
Okay,
We're going to get, this is, what do they call it? Is this the ASMR part? You're going to hear me opening up a gift?
Yeah, I can't stand ASMR, but I can watch it, so it's not so bad. So for people watching, you want to
opening it up?
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like, it feels like an empty case if it's a case of this, Daryl, because it is a nitrogenated stout, smooth and creamy Guinness with hints of coffee. I would like that, but it feels like maybe that's not what's in here. Yeah, a little light is what it is. So let's open up the end here. What do we got in here? What's happening? There's something in here. Oh my goodness. What is this? Bubble wrap beyond. Oh, baby, look at this. I have got the brand new Glow Thought Space Mantra.
And whose disc is it?
Disc. This one is Ali Smith's is who it is.
Ali Smith Glow Mantra.
That is so sweet. This is, as you know, one of my favorite discs. It's behind me here on the board, actually below low. But that's amazing, Daryl. Thank you so much for that.
You've stepped up to that mantra. You've kind of secured its spot in your bag. So I figured, you know what, get it in a different plastic.
Yes. I think, you know what, and you've been saying that for quite a while now, is once you start learning which discs you like to throw, start buying multiples of that disc. And this will be one of my first ones. So this will be awesome. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Beautiful.
Brendan is in the chat. TSA Glow is amazing as well. I haven't. Do you have any TSA Glow discs? I don't have any Thought Space Glow discs.
Well, we know that TSA is made by MVP, right?
Right, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
So I'm wondering if the Glow is the same or if TSA has their own glow compound that MVP makes for them.
I'm guessing it's probably the same.
Yeah, which is a quality glow for sure. We know Innova's got a good glow going, and so does MVP as well.
There you go. You're welcome.
But that's fantastic. We also have some giveaways, Daryl, I want to get to now that you're in the giving mood. You've given to me. We want to give away to others. And one of them goes all the way back to when we were out at Cold Garden. So when we were there.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It
Ryan
seems like
Bonner
a long time ago.
Like Ryan gave us this awesome local disc golf hat.
Yeah.
that we have here. It's a trucker style snapback.
We had a lot of gifts and prizes to give away, and we were doing all the giveaways. But when we interviewed Ryan, he kind of sat down and gave us more stuff to give away. So we didn't really know how to give it away. Nice local patch for your bag.
Yeah, and then in the other one, I think what was left was another patch, and it was there was a chalk bag as well that
A
was
local
in there too.
local disc golf chalk bag.
Right. So we had two separate gifts to give away. And at the time when we were doing Cold Garden, if you guys remember, that was a live episode. We were working on our sound. There was lots of stuff happening that one. But what we had asked at that time was for you to go to Local Disc Golf. He's got a ton of videos. He does a lot of great reviews. Go to one of his videos that you enjoy. Tell him Chain Out said ya. And you can do that by going in the comments and making a comment on the video and then tagging at Chain Out Podcast. And if you do that, that tag will show up for us. And the first two that show up in our YouTube that say we were tagged are going to get these two gifts. I thought that's the way we could do it. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's what we said we were going to do before.
Exactly. We did say it during the episode, like you said, but it was, like you said, a lot of going on, a lot of background noise. We had the two cameras going, so I wasn't sure if I said it or you said it or whether people were watching, watching and not listening sort of thing. So Ryan was courteous enough to donate those to us to give away, so we should give them away and not keep them for ourselves, even though I would like it. But I got a patch. I kept a patch. I asked Ryan for a patch. He said he would give me a patch, so I'm happy with that.
Right. So that's awesome. So that's one giveaway you guys can get in on today to start the new year.
Yeah.
The other giveaway that we've got going is when we were doing our Christmas episode, I told everyone I had a Gyropalooza box waiting for me under the tree.
You did.
So I did open that box and we joked about, I said I was going to give away one disc from the box before we'd even seen it. And we joked, I think you said a teleport or a dimension because
it's going to be a high-speed driver because you always get them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's notorious for that, right? There's at least one in there, and it's something that only 3 people in our group could probably throw.
Yeah.
But what it is I got the Gyropalooza box with no high-speed drivers.
It's amazing. I think that must be like I say, I think I've had 2 Gyropalooza boxes, and I've had high-speed drivers. I know you've had them before. You've had high-speed drivers. You see them unboxing on YouTube and wherever else. They get high-speed drivers. You must have the only Gyropalooza box that didn't include a high-speed driver, which is amazing.
Oh, it was awesome. And instead of that, and I'm not going to go through every single thing it included all the ones that you would think about. There's a balance back there.
Yeah.
But some of the interesting things that I got a trail, which I was amazed. I've already got one, but as you said, multiple discs. That'll be my backup trail. So I was quite excited about that. I also got a tempo, a glow tempo. So I'd already had one tempo, and that was another that came in. But anyways, what I got was I thought I was going to give away one disc. I am going to give away one disc, but I thought I was going to pick that one disc.
Yeah.
But I'm going to leave it up to our listeners to pick the disc that they would like. And what we're going to do is we're going to get everybody to take a look at these 3 discs. Tell us which one you would want if you were to win. And you can do that by going to Instagram, putting it in the comments on our Instagram, on any of our posts. You can just put it there. If we put one up, we can do it on that or anything else. Just put it in. Which one do you want? And tag a friend? Follow us and tag a friend, something like that?
Yeah. Whatever. It's your giveaway. Whatever. So what are we doing? Are you going to take a photo and put it on Instagram? You're going to put it on YouTube only?
We'll do a photo on Instagram. Thank you for nailing it down. So here are the 3 discs you get to choose from. This one is a glow. Come on, Daryl. Why would I've even got my glasses on that aren't glasses.
You picked the 3 discs. You must remember what 3 discs you picked. And that's the thing with the first MVP discs is they do print it on the rim, but they also print MVP or Axiom. They also print PDGA. They also print Gyro. So you end up looking at all 3 sides before you get to the 4th one that actually has the stamp on it.
Well, and here's one of the ones I was giving away, and I just had mentioned it, and this is the Glow Tempo is what it is, Daryl. It's a lab
that's
second
the Glow tempo. Yeah.
Yeah. And this one, if you don't know what a tempo is, it's an overstable kind of approach disc. I think it's like a 4304, something like that.
right?
Then the next choice you could choose from is a Lab Second as well, another glow disc, and it is a Vanish.
I'm not
So
too
that'll be
familiar
the
with the
next one.
Vanish. Do you know what the numbers are on a Vanish?
It's like an 11. It's an understable 11. I want to say it's like 11.5 minus 3.2, something like that.
Okay.
And then the last one I'm going to
So
give away is
that is your
Go ahead.
high-speed distance driver then, I guess. If you count 11, 11.5 minus 3.2. So
Yeah.
kind of a beginner disc if you want. If you with that minus 3 turn, like it will fade, or it will turn to the right, but you got that too, so it'll definitely come back. So if you can get it to
Right.
flip up or for some straight shots,
Yeah, and
it's
that's
classed
what
as
it's
it's classed
supposed
as
to
a
do, for
distance
sure.
driver. Yeah.
And there was a special Vanish that was in the box to begin with, so this was a second Vanish that I got.
Right.
And then the last disc of the choices that you can choose from, tell us which one you would want to when we give them away,
Yeah.
or when we give one away. And that is an R2 reactor.
Nice.
So, and that one's a mid-range. So I tried to keep it for everyone. There's an approach disc, there's a bit of a distance disc, and there's a mid-range. So tell us which one you would want. Put that in the comments when we put up that post after this episode, and we'll select somebody for next week and do a spin and all that good stuff.
So now I've got to create an account and leave a comment.
I think you might. I really think you should. That would be
No,
a great
'cause
thing for you to do.
It's not an Innova disc. As much as I do like MVP plastic and MVP discs, they were my second choice. I shouldn't say that. They were my choice that I used to throw before I switched to Innova.
Yes, before you got all one disc or one manufacturer-ish, hey?
Yeah.
Well,
that's a great giveaway.
Going, do you have any non-Innova in your bag at the moment? Or have you
No.
changed everything out?
I've
Everything's
changed-
gone. Not even the
everything is
pixels
out.
left.
Don't even have pixels. No, they were the,
No
the
Berg.
last. Nope, no Berg now anymore. I've got a Gator and I've got a Cayman, which are a little bit more glidier than the Berg. What would I use for an approach? I've got a Pig and I've got a Polecat. I think my Polecat is probably the closest to my Berg. But
Gotcha.
I've learned now that if you don't want glide on it, just don't throw it hard.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the new year now. We're giving stuff away. We've opened gifts. We've had all that celebration. But before we get to that, we've got some Canadian disc golf news is starting to come out. And there's some pretty cool things that I thought if people haven't heard about it yet, we should shout it out.
And that's the
Starting
thing, right?
with-
We're doing
Yeah.
we're doing our New Year's episode. It's going to come out on New Year's Day, which means we're recording it a little bit earlier. But a lot of the announcement people, a lot of the people that are talking that may be switching manufacturers and things like that are always saying, wait till January 1st, wait till January 1st. So we're kind of getting in a little bit before,
Yeah.
but there has been some announcements already.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. And why don't you tell everybody about the first announcement, the exciting one?
Yeah.
They're
so
all exciting, but-
they're all exciting. Yeah. But if you follow this guy on Instagram, why wouldn't you? Because he's the nicest guy in disc golf. Alex Penny, friend of the show, announced that for 2025, he is joining Elevation Discs.
Yes. And that's awesome.
Couldn't be a better scoop for Elevation if you're going to get the nicest man in disc golf. What a great asset to that company.
Oh, and I just seen the comments on Facebook and on Instagram just blowing up. One of the people had made a comment along the lines that Elevation disc sales go up 250% because of the announcement of Alex Penny joining the team.
Yeah. Have you thrown any Elevation discs?
I have not, but I know our buddy Mark Thompson has, and I thought you had a one or two for a while there, did you?
Yeah, I've got two of the putters. I forget what the putters are called, but just for that, and the only time I would throw them is in the winter rounds. Just if you're approaching the basket, you know, if it's coming towards the end of winter, it's been trampled down, you've had the warm, the melt, and it's kind of icy around the basket. If it's on any part of a slant, you want something to stick around the basket. So throw the Elevation. If people don't know, they're made of rubber. I believe they're recycled, but I'm not sure. They may not be. But they're made of a rubber compound, very salt. You know, those discs that you can see that you can fold in half, screw them up, they'll bounce back into shape. Yeah, so I have the putter version. I forget what the putter's called.
There was a Koi, I think. Wasn't the Koi one of the putters?
That's the one. The Koi is what I have.
Yeah. Yeah. Neat. Well, that's one of the pieces of news. Another piece of news that we heard was that Noah Higgins will be re-upping with Prodigy, so that's good. He's been a long time Prodigy player,
Yeah.
and good to see that he'll be sticking with them with a lot of other people leaving Prodigy this year, or at least we're starting to hear that with Kale LaVisca leaving and that type of thing. But Noah will be back with them for 2025.
Yeah. 8 years. This will be his 8th year with Prodigy.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Good to see.
And then our next piece of news that I want to talk about is a person that we got to meet this past year out at Falcons Flight, Daisy Kelly,
Yeah.
has also joined Team Cardinal, and we're excited to have her as part of the team with us as well. And one of the things about Daisy is that if you find Daisy around on a course, chances are Miguel Alvarado might not be too far behind there. They tend to hang out a lot together, and definitely a great team for sure.
A great combo, yeah. If she's playing in a tournament, probably look at her bag because I think Miguel will be on the bag for her. If it's a practice round, he'll probably be throwing as well. So,
And the
Yeah.
one thing I'm liking already with Daisy is that her content that she's posting is hilarious. It's fantastic. She's
definitely
going
got some
from-
Miguel, Nick Culver influences there. But yeah, definitely funny videos. You go follow her on Instagram, Daisy Chains Out. You'll see her
Yes.
announcement video. It's quite funny.
It's so good. So good. And the other piece of big news that we got to bring attention to now. So stop what you're doing. Listen to what we're telling you here.
Get your calendars out.
Get your calendar out. Yeah. Pull out your phone. Registration date for Canadian Nationals is February 2nd, otherwise known as Groundhog Day. But you got to get it done that day because unlike the Bill Murray movie, you don't get a second chance the next day.
Yeah.
But I guess you kind of do, don't you, Daryl? Because what Daryl Banks has said is that for that first week of registration, it's only Canadians who can register. So it's not
Nice.
open to Americans or anyone else because it is at the RIP. Like one of the
Yeah.
last year was the RIP, and we had Gannon and all those people come up. But this year it's the RIP. It's so Hope
Project
Goat
15.
is Project 15, Cedar Rapids, I believe, and then I was looking at them last night, and then
Yeah.
the other course. Sorry that I don't remember it right now. but
Yeah. There is a fourth course, and I
I
forget
think
what
it
it's
was
called now as well.
Newcastle.
Yeah,
it
that
was
rings
out
a
at
bell.
Newcastle.
Yeah.
And I think that one's on a golf course. It's a pop-up course. But that's go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that I had some exciting news. The registration date for Canadian Nationals is February 2nd, also known as Groundhog Day. You kind of trampled on my joke there a bit, Jeremy, by saying you don't get to repeat it twice. I wanted to line it up, but you kind of trampled on it. But that's okay. Some people find it funny. That's okay.
Oh, I love
But
it.
Daryl
That's
Banks
awesome.
said that for the first week, no Americans, no U.S. People can sign up. It's Canadians only.
I'm having deja vu all over again.
And you want to get out and play it because it's at 4 great courses. It's at the RIP, or the Hope Goat. It's at Project 15. Is it Cedar Rapids?
I think so.
Yeah, and I think there's another course, maybe Newcastle, somewhere like that. Yeah.
You heard it here twice. So anyways, sign up for that. We're both excited to try and get out there. I never try to speak for Daryl, but I am almost guaranteed as long as I can get in and get registered, I'm heading out that way. One of the things for you MPO players out there, though, the one thing you probably want to check is that you have to be 935 rated to play MPO at this tournament. So if you were like you and I, Daryl, and we were, we're going to go MPO because maybe we'll get on Gannon's card or get on Thomas Gilbert's card.
Yeah.
We're not going. We're not
No,
getting on
we
MPO.
just missed out.
Yep. Just missed. By the time we get there, we'll only be like a few points behind, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I think that's all the great Canadian news we have now, but we'll definitely give you more as the year progresses and as we keep doing episodes. But the other things that we wanted to do in this episode was tell you about some of our personal and our podcast goals, and this is where it kind of gets a little fun. Because I did my homework and I wrote down some things, Daryl, and I said, hey, what are maybe some goals that Jeremy's going to try to achieve for his 2025 disc golf season?
Yeah. Let's
And
talk
after
about it.
consulting with myself, I came up with a number of them possible ones. I said to myself, get above 850 rated because you and I have floated around 850. We've been there. We've been a little above it, a little below it. I'd like to just consistently be above it.
I think
Maybe
that's
even hit. Yeah, go ahead.
So I was just going to say, I think that's an achievable goal. I think
Yeah.
it's well within your reach to stay above 850.
Well, and let me continue with that and see what you think.
Yeah.
How about possibly maybe hit 875 on one of the ratings updates? Do you think I can get there this year?
I think you can get there. I don't I'm going to be positive. Yes, you can, Jeremy.
And then I said, you know what would be really good? Because it was almost like, I think I've told everybody this before, is I do have a goal board and it's got a disc golf basket in the middle and it's got bullseye, circle 1 and circle 2. So my circle 2 goal would be stay above 850. My circle 1 goal would be 875 rated. My bullseye goal, if I could really nail it, would be 900, but I don't think that one's happening.
Well, you know, we did the look back, and I think one of my best ever rated round. Let me just pull it up quickly because it was somewhere not too far south of. So my highest rated round is 893.
893, yeah.
Yeah,
so
maybe
it's out
not.
there. Well,
You'd have to shoot lights out.
Yeah. And what I thought was maybe instead it was like, what if I can get a 900 rated round in one tournament, one time next year? That seems a little more realistic for the close goals. So.
Well, you never know.
So
with all the goals that you set and the practice and the effort and the training that you put in, if you keep at it, I don't see there's any reason why you can't do that.
Well, that's fair. Thank you. I appreciate it. Look at you. You are positive. Right? I like 2025, Daryl.
Don't worry. I've still got the buttons handy.
Oh, good. When it comes to the podcast, I figured, and I'm throwing this out there, my thought is that we should be getting to 500 subs this year. For those not in the biz, that would be subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah, no, that's definitely, that has to be number one goal for the podcast.
Yeah, well, one of the goals. That's the number one goal when it comes to like the back end
the social
stuff.
media.
The social media side. That's the number one social media goal. But the podcast has so many other goals, and one of the other ones I had on here was develop our community. And I think we have been trying to do that, and I mean that both in community as in the Canadian disc golf community and in this community that we have here that's starting to develop with Chain Out and everybody who supports us, all the listeners and the Patreon members and Instagram followers, all of that is to kind of develop that community and keep bringing it closer together and growing it. So
yeah,
so far you're on board with all of this.
I'm on board with your goals. Yes.
Okay, another one of this one I wanted to say could be our goal, because this has been your goal for like years now.
So these are your goals. Is this your goal?
I don't know if I can say it.
Exactly. I don't know necessarily if this is one of your goals.
I should speak it out
it's
loud.
a Chain Out
speak
goal.
Something aloud, it becomes real.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely one of my goals.
All right. Well,
but like you said, I've been trying to put it out there for a while, and you've not been on board for various different reasons. Not on board, but
haven't been able to execute.
Yeah. So
but the goal is, I'm going to say it.
Go for it.
Is for us to put on in 2025 a Chain Out tournament. Yeah. Now, for me, what Daryl loves and despises about me at the same time is all the parameters I'll put on something.
Yeah.
But at the minimum, a get in, get out, get rated Chain Out tournament. That's what we're talking about. So
yeah,
that's my thoughts on there. And then two last things I'm going to throw out here, Daryl, before I end this exhaustive list. And one is related to tournaments. I just mentioned it. I want to get to nationals. I got TCO on my list as well. Right. That one's still kind of in pencil. I want to get it into pen. And then one kind of stretch one that I don't know is going to Austin for the NADGT. That would be kind of the stretch one. Because it sounded like Brody, Sam, when we talked to Kevin, everybody said it was a great event. I'm thinking maybe I could get down there for one as well. But I don't know if that'll interfere with the nationals. So it's kind of, that one's not even, that one might be in Invisible Ink.
Yeah, I'm not too sure you understand goals. You can't write goals in pencil. They're either a goal that you try and achieve. If now you put on all your parentheses and parameters and stipulations on your goals. A goal is something that you put down and you say, that's it. That's what I want to achieve. And this is okay. Now you're almost finished doing your goals. I'll kind of explain why my list is a little bit shorter than yours.
Is very big.
Yeah, it's because.
I'll do my last one.
Okay, go for your last one.
Last one's an easy one. This one's in half pencil, half permanent marker. And that's get in fighting shape. I don't know what it is, but something happens here when you get into the late MA40 division.
Yeah.
It's a little harder to stay in fighting shape. You go to McDonald's a couple times a week, and McDonald's stays with you all year long.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of thing. So we're going to try to resolve that over the next year.
Yeah.
And that sums up my goals for
That's
2025.
That's a very good semi-permanent list.
How about you,
So,
Daryl? I'm looking
yeah.
here at the outline. I'm seeing something here, though.
So I have 4 words on my goal list, and that's not a goal setter. And the reason is, now I'll clarify. My feeling on setting goals is that they do you no good, because you can set a goal. If you don't achieve your goal, then you feel like a failure. You feel like you had this goal, you set the goal to be fairly realistic. You know, I'm not saying I'm going to reach 900 or anything like that, but they're semi-realistic that you should be they should be achievable. You know, and people in in the industry and working and going for interviews and stuff like that, they always set these SMART goals. They should be achievable. If you don't
Measurable.
achieve your goal, then you feel like a failure because you didn't hit the goal even though it was achievable. If you do hit your goal, then what? Then you have to set another goal, and then
you have a
and it's a perpetuation of just a dangling carrot. You're always trying to achieve something that the bar keeps moving. So that's why I don't like goals. I like to do the best I can,
Right.
because then there's no upper limit. There's no bar that I have to hit. As long as I know personally that I've put everything into it and I've done as best as I can, then I'll be happy with that. Whether I achieve that goal or I don't achieve that goal, I've done the best I can, and that's where the best of Daryl is going to come out.
Right.
So when you say you have this goal that's half written in pencil, is that really a goal? That's like a floating bar? You're going to move it and lower it and higher it based on whether you're actually going to go to Austin or, whatever insert goal that you've written in pencil.
Well, what I'll do is I'll make what do I say? I don't even want to say a promise. A promise sounds very binding. I will make a semi-guarantee
No money back guarantee.
that I will start writing some of these goals in pen so that they will be closer to achievement than in the pencil.
So what you should do then is just pick something that you know that you can achieve and write that in pen. Something that maybe or may not happen. Don't set it as a goal. Just have it as a wish.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to make a wish board is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. A wish board is something that you want, but may or may not come to fruition.
Oh.
I mean, you do you.
I like it.
However it works in your brain and however you can justify not hitting those goals. If you don't hit a goal, do you feel like, oh man, that was one of my goals this year and I didn't achieve it? How does that make you feel?
Well, all I can tell you is if it's in pencil, I just erase it and it never existed.
And it never existed. There you go. Fair enough. But
No.
I don't have goals. I have things that I want to achieve and I want to do my best at. And you're right. I've said it for a while. Is to put on a chain out tournament. What that looks like, if it's a get in, get out, get rated. We've talked about it, maybe a Desert Island Disc tournament. We've talked about various iterations of what this tournament is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it'll be my first tournament running. It'll be your first tournament if you decide, if I let you in on it. If I get help from my friends at Edgar, because obviously now I'm on the Edgar board, people there have run tournaments before, so I'm sure they'll be willing to point me in certain directions to get things on board. But that is a thing that we're going to do. And maybe we put on a chain out tournament, whatever that might look like. Maybe we do a get in, get out, get rated as well. I'm not going to say I want to do 2 or 3 tournaments this year. I want to at least do 1, just so I know how it works. And if it goes okay, if it goes according to plan, and obviously there's going to be mistakes. You learn from them, you move on. Maybe I'll get a bug, and I know this year I'll be helping out with Edgar as well, volunteering on some of the tournaments. I'll be playing a lot less local tournaments because I'll be volunteering in the ones that'll be run by Edgar. So I'll get some behind the scenes, hopefully, get the information there on how to run a tournament. So that's definitely, it's not a goal, it's going to happen.
All right. So that's not even on the wish board. That's
Yeah.
on the make
But
it happen.
I did see somebody, I forget who it was, so I apologize, but they put it out on Instagram this morning of something they said in 2024, and they didn't hit their goal. They set 2 goals. One had a check mark, one had a red X. But one thing that I think is good, and it's not necessarily a goal, it's just something that I think mentally I can kind of try and strive for, is to play a bogey-free tournament round.
Oh, that's a
So
good one.
it doesn't have to be a bogey-free tournament. I mean, that would obviously be awesome. And I think I said that to you when we were playing last week there, that when I watch MPOs play, and we watch the coverage of BC Open, and out of the 4 pros, 3 off the tee hit the first available, and I was like, I could do this. I could get through that gap. But trying to play more conservative, I don't want to say conservative, more sensible. Don't try and run a putt for a birdie and then end up 40 feet past the hole, and then you try your par comeback shot and you miss that, and then you end up with the dreaded birdogey, right?
Yes. Yes.
Play the sensible shot. If you don't think you can make the putt, lay it up under the basket, tap it in an easy par. I'll take an easy par over a frustrating birdogey.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
I think if you went with that goal into a tournament,
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to see how your results and what your finish looks like. If the goal instead of was get the lowest score possible
Yeah.
was not, if you approach it as don't bogey, you would
Exactly.
probably give it a whole different outlook the whole way through.
Yeah. I think that's, like you said, that's what we try and do, right? You always try and shoot the best score, the best play that you can to get the lowest score. Whereas, and then what that'll end up happening is you get those dreaded bogeys, double bogeys, or whatever because of, I mean, they're going to happen probably because of just bad throws. If you have a bad drive off the tee, it's pretty hard to save par from that sort of situation, but you can. But when you get a nice drive up through the fairway and you land in a perfect position and you think, I've got this for a birdie, and then you hit the basket, you roll away, you end up with that birdogey. I think just going into that mindset, and like I said, if I try and do a bogey-free round, doesn't have to be a bogey-free tournament, but if you go in with that mindset, I would likely bet that your result over the tournament would be better than what it would previously have been.
Yeah.
So I like
think we can do that. We can give that a try. Maybe in a tournament, what we can do is one round, I'll go for my best score possible. You go for bogey free. The next round, we'll swap and we'll see how our rounds turn out.
Yeah. Brendan in the chat kind of summed it up in a one sentence: one round with logical throws.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's another thing.
And
too,
the
is
other
people
thing,
want to give.
sorry, go
keep
ahead.
going. No, I don't want to cut you off.
No, and Brendan kind of also mentioned something that we've talked about, and Brendan was the instigator. Our bus event is another thing that we wanted to do. Talking about bringing the community together, we have some ideas revolving around some sort of trip. That's all I'll say. A disc golf trip.
Well, I think
Can't
if
give out
anything,
too
we
many
should-
details on that because that may not happen.
No,
I'm
well,
not
what we
committing to
can
that.
say is if you tell us that you will keep us completely. What is the word from that? What is the word that I'm
Safe?
always worried about? Not safe. Get rid of any liability on chain out. We will get you on a bus, but we need some way to get that part figured out.
And this is the part where Jeremy and I kind of don't exactly see eye to eye. I think in this situation where I'm like, yeah, this is something I want to do, it won't necessarily be a chain out event.
Right. Okay. There you go. That's fine.
So there will be no chain out
Daryl DJ will
liabilities.
But
But
okay,
it's something.
now
Stay tuned. Put it that way.
Yeah, stay tuned for that one because that's one we have talked about for a while. If you want to hear more about it, go and watch Brendan's episode from last year, which is a great episode just to rewatch because it was an interesting one to put together. At that time, the internet wasn't working the way we needed it to, and some creative things happened, so it was good.
Yeah.
Now, Daryl, to get better at disc golf next year, a lot of people will just say, I'm going to get better next year. But here's the thing that I'll say about goals and planning and stuff. If that's all you say, I'm just going to get better next year. Well, it doesn't just happen. You have to have some sort of plan on how to get there.
How?
Is it just going out and playing rounds and just keep playing rounds like you always do? Is it getting lessons? Is it going out and doing field work? For you, do you have any ideas or plans on how you're going to become a better disc golfer next year?
No, because that's not one of my goals.
You want to be
I
a
did-
worse disc golfer?
No, but I did. So we can get to it a little bit later, but somebody did put out that one of their goals for the future was to just enjoy disc golf. And I think sometimes this is the kind of the flip side to your
Regimented.
kind of regimented goal, like the way that you approach this. Obviously, you want to play the best disc golf you can. The way that you play the best disc golf is to shoot low scores. They kind of go hand in hand. So how can you get to that low score? Well, then you have to improve as a disc golfer. Your current level of, your 849, 851 rated is not going to get you to those minus 10, minus 12 rounds. So
Right.
you have to have better form. You have to throw farther. You have to be better at accuracy around the basket. You have to be better at putting. How do you do that? You have to work on it. You have to train. You have to get to this point. And I think that, to me, when you put that much in, are you really enjoying going out every weekend? When you shoot a bad round then, and I know it's happened to me and to you, we won't talk about the infamous round, but after you come off the course,
Round
you're
that
not
must not be named.
exactly. You're not in the mood. You don't think you're not enjoying disc golf at that point.
So
So
it is true.
yeah. So my goal, if you want to put it, or the way that I tend to my outlook on playing disc golf for 2025 is just to enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think that should always be the premier goal. Like if it was me and I'm writing them down and making a pyramid of goals,
Yeah.
that's the first one, right? Like that's the baseline, that's the base of the pyramid. Everything has to be built on that. If you're not having fun, then the rest doesn't matter.
Exactly.
So what I will do, I'm going to play. I've done field work. I'm going to do lessons. I'm probably going to I will go to the indoor lessons with Gabe again. All of those things. But again, I will put fun on there. Maybe I'll get a shirt that says I'm having fun, and then everybody can see.
You just need to write it on your hand, or do what Kristen did.
Oh, yeah.
She wrote on one of her discs before she throws. She write on it, "Let the disc do the work," and that kind of reminds
Right.
her, don't try and make a disc do something that the disc is not going to do. Let the disc do the work. So what I think you need to write on one of your discs is, have fun, just so it
Yeah.
reminds you before you take that throw. Oh yeah, disc golf and this
That's
sport
right.
that we
Just-
love is meant to be fun.
Just take a breath, have fun, right?
There you
That
go.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, we did go out and we put it out on Instagram and on Facebook, on all the socials there, was what did our listeners have for 2025 goals? And I thought we should shout some of them out because some of them are pretty good. And
Oh, yeah.
all people's
They're all
goals,
good.
whatever your goal is great. And some of them we're finding they were kind of themed. Some of them, so we had similarity. So I said mine about the rating, but we saw a few different ones where there were.
Do you want me to
rating
start?
ones. So, yeah, you go right ahead. You could actually
Because
kind of
there's-
run through a few of them.
Well, we can take them one by one because there's quite a few. We had a lot of responses.
Yeah.
So, Mark Thompson, we've had him on the podcast. One of his goals: stay over 900.
Yes. And then,
And then-
Dylan Gowdy, who was also on the podcast, he was saying that he wanted to be 999 rated. And when we did that, I think you responded to him and said, 999? Why not 1,000?
Yeah.
And what was his response?
His response was 999 sounds more reasonable.
Yeah, and I think if you ask Cam Zanini or anybody or Kristen
Yeah.
Latt now, if you ask any of them, they've been in that area for so long
Yeah.
that it takes a while there to hit 1,000. So you need a year at 999 before you can get there, I think.
Yeah. Okay, you do the next one because I know you like this.
Oh, this is one of my favorite peeps
Exactly.
is Gabby Lee out
Yeah.
of Victoria, BC. We saw it when we talked to her on the podcast. She's very, very thoughtful, really chooses her words carefully, and has so many insightful things to say. And hers was to play for the moment, not for the results, letting go of the past and being present when she's golfing, disc golfing, and just to really enjoy those moments. And yeah, I can't say it as good as she can. So
Yeah.
maybe we should just get a soundbite from her. But yeah, it's a great goal for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's comes back to what I was saying, right? About just going out there, enjoying it, playing for the moment of disc golf. Don't worry about the past. Don't worry about what you try. Because I think that's what we try and do sometimes as well. When you play a course so many times, you play it, you hit that one sweet shot, and you're like, yes, I can do it. I can birdie this hole. I can park it under the basket on this hole. You are always then thinking and trying to live up to that standard because you know you've done it before, right?
Yeah.
Forget the
Well,
past.
and the thing is, I know you tried to just say it there, but it just doesn't come off the same way. I think we just need Gabby to say it.
Sounds good. Yeah. Maybe we'll get her on. Maybe we'll reach out to Gabby to put it into her words.
Yes.
Brendan, BR Disc Golf, kind of reached out as well. One of his goals, put awesome plastic in people's hands. And I think it's very fitting at this time of year to mention stay in business. With
Yes.
over the past year, we've lost Gander, we've lost Limber. Let's not lose BR.
Or any other disc
Or
golf
any
store.
other
We don't
store,
want
for sure.
Yeah. Like BR's been such a great supporter, and we want Brendan to just get more and more successful. Yeah, there you go. Sporting
Wearing
the jersey
my-
right there.
BR jersey in solidarity.
Yeah. So support your local disc golf stores. Keep them around. Definitely a great goal for all of us to keep in mind too. We had a message from Thummer DG, and they said a year of growth for themselves and the community. They want to run 3 tournaments, and then they want to take the proceeds from those tournaments and put them back into BC Junior Disc Golf. So
Yeah.
can't go wrong with a goal like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the future of the sport. Disc Seeker also responded, and this is what we should all strive for, Jeremy. It's very simple. Be better than last season.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Never take a step back. Always take steps forward.
Yeah. Friend of the show, Andrea Michaud, she reached out to us and she said to either play with Chain Out at Nationals or to get out to Edmonton in 2025 to play with Chain Out. And we would love that, Andrea. If we get a chance to play with you, the energy that you would bring to that round, I know it would be a great round right from the start to the very last throw.
Do you think she's aiming high enough? If that's her goal, is to play with a couple of amateur MA40 players? I mean,
Well, I think it
then
might
again,
be like
we're
a
not just
side
MA40.
quest is
Yeah.
probably what she's got. Like if it was in a video game, you've got your main goal and
Right.
hey, I'll try to hit this side quest along the way.
exactly. Did you 100% complete disc golf? Did you play with Chain Out?
exactly.
Yeah. Riger Disc Golf, this is more up your alley, I think, than my alley, but one of his goals was to live long and prosper.
Yes.
So may the force be
For
with
sure.
you.
Oh man, there's so many people.
So
are
many
gonna
people
come
are
for you in
shouting
the
at their screen right
comments.
now.
Dan Dupree's had said he wants to enjoy the sport and get more people into it, and that I think is not a goal for Dan. I think that's like a core part of his being because
Yeah.
that's just what he does. You see everything that he's doing. He's out there trying to grow disc golf. One of the things I loved about Dan's posts and stuff this year was he made it out to Japan. And
Right.
I don't know if you followed along you did
Yeah.
as well. And he got to play some courses out there as well as just immerse himself in the Japanese culture, and that looked pretty cool.
Yeah, that's somewhere that I've always wanted to go, and I will get there eventually. But one thing I wanted to say about Dan, towards the end of the year, he kind of got in that mindset of maybe not loving disc golf as much. So I hope 2025 treats Dan a little bit better. Hopefully he regains that confidence, regains his love for the sport again, gets out there and finally hands it to Gavin. Sorry, I had to say it. Will Granger, he wants to TD 2 plus tournaments, and finish course construction on both local courses.
Yeah, and Will Granger, I got a chance to meet him out at Nationals. Really positive guy, great disc golfer, and he has a lot to do with the Saskatchewan courses.
Yeah.
So there's Lakeland. Is that the one that was that out there? I know there's Golden Eagle, there's Lakeland, and there's another new course that they've just put up in that area, kind of all on that Alberta Saskatchewan border, and he's been instrumental in working in it. So when we get to do a kind of just a day trip and we go out east, we'll have to definitely go and check that out for sure.
Yeah.
And then that brings us to Judah Hawks. And Judah says that he would like to win an MA2 event and get 940 rated.
Yeah.
And then
pretty solid
another
goal.
young junior's the next after that, hey, Daryl?
Yeah, we've had him on the show. Great person with a great, bright future, Mason Howard. He wants to be 950 rated and win an MA1 in a B tier.
Right. But I think he's got a side quest as well.
He has a side quest, yeah. He wants to finish top 5 in MPO at the Las Vegas Challenge.
And if anybody has the
Set those bars high.
anybody has the effort level to do it, yeah, definitely Mason would. Gavin came back to us. Gavin Beamish, another great junior, came back with
Same
975 rated. Yeah, he was
Go
in
back
that
and
one
watch the
too. So go
junior
watch
episode,
our first
yeah.
juniors episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Another friend of the show. We love having her on. Got a chance to speak to her in Canada. We also got a chance to speak to her in Australia. Karen Martell.
Yes.
One of her goals for 2025, I mean, say one of the goals in 2025, there's only one place it can happen. She wants to be on lead card at Canadian Nationals. And I'm sure she
Nice.
will.
Yeah, for sure.
I
And I'll
have
be
faith.
watching those throws, guaranteed.
Yeah. We'll be recording them.
Yeah. Lucky Luke Levesque, he says he wants to quit losing. Now, if you guys don't know Luke,
Put an
we've
asterisk
only-
by this. Yeah, we'll revisit this.
Exactly. Because Luke, we don't know him well, as in we haven't met him in person. But what we have done is we've communicated with him a lot on Instagram. And one of the things about Luke is he was out at so many A tiers this year.
We almost
and was-
got to talk to him.
Yes, and we almost multiple times because
Yeah.
he was always in the hunt for the win at those A tiers, and whether one thing or another would happen and it would just slip through his fingers. So that's where his message is coming from, is he wants to quit losing and start winning. But I think that's always a step in it, because what people will tell you, and you and I, we've not, well, I guess you've experienced Mr. One career win, is playing with a lead is a whole different thing compared to just going out and competing in a tournament. Once you have that lead and you know people are hunting you down, to hold on to it is something difficult to do. So I think this year he was learning that.
Yeah.
Next year, you better watch out. Luke's going to be, we'll be talking to him at least once, I'm sure of that.
Oh, absolutely. I have faith in it. And our last listener goal, this is quite a big one, so get comfortable. So over on our Patreon, Dinah Dies Discs commented on the post we put out there. Dina Dies Discs. Dina said she wants to work on her mental game. Her best tournaments have her best tournaments have been when she played calm, relaxed, and having fun, which I think we can all agree with that.
100%. Yeah.
She has some tournament plans, Jeremy. She wants to play Masters Worlds. That'll be her third time going to that. She wants to
Okay.
play at Canadian Nationals. That'll be her first time going to that.
Mhm.
And she also wants to play another big tournament in the States, but she's not going to tell us where just yet because she wants to register first. And she also wants to play a bunch of local tournaments in South and North Dakota as well as Saskatchewan. Lots of goals for Dina.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And everybody, it's cool that we've put this out there. I like it. I know we've put out a lot of goals, but we've helped. Sometimes one of the things with that I know is when it's spoken out loud, it makes
Yeah.
it real. Because if you said, I want to go to Australia, and you never tell anybody that you want to go to Australia, then there's nothing lost.
No
You don't have
accountability.
to do it. But if I start going around and telling everybody I know that I'm going to go to Australia, there's a lot better chance that I'm going to go to Australia. So I think the same thing with this is we put it out there. Now it's encapsulated. It's on YouTube. So maybe what we should do, and I don't know, Daryl, I'm just talking off the cuff here, is maybe 6 months from now, we should do a revisit. Is that enough to put some pressure on people to really say, oh man, Chainote's going to ask me how I was doing on my 975 rated goal here in 6 months or something like that?
I think that's awesome. I think we take down all these names. We've got the names, we've got the list. We'll make a note 6 months time.
Yeah.
Let's go back and we'll send it back out to people again and be like, hey, these were your goals for 2025. How close are you to achieving them? And maybe that'll be a thing that, people make New Year's resolutions. They go to the gym for 3 weeks and then they stop and then they don't think about it for the rest of the year. Maybe if we revisit these goals in 6 months time and bring these back up to people can be like, you know what? I forgot all about it. There's still time. let's get working on it again, and hopefully we can. I was going to say, hopefully we can make people's 2025 by actually achieving these goals that they set out for themselves. Also, it could be a bit of a stark reminder in how badly people have played and they're not actually hitting these goals. So I don't know if we do really want to revisit these or not.
Well, it would be maybe some motivation for sure, but that caps off the goals, and good luck to everyone on them. And let's see if I'm in fighting shape the next time people see me out at a tournament.
There you go. Yeah. See, that's why I don't make goals, you see, because there's no accountability.
Maybe I'll get another shirt made. This is what fighting shape looks like.
Yeah.
In a
Round
2XL.
is a shape.
Yes. All right. Well, if you're going to start planning your tournaments for next year, a few of them are starting to get put up on Disc Golf Scene in Canada. But the one thing that is solid is out there right now. There could be more, but the Canadian A tiers have been set. Anybody who wanted a date has gotten their date. There could be more that come. We found that out last year. We thought there was going to be 9, then there was 10, then there was 11. It kept on growing. Right now, there are 14 Canadian A tiers. And Daryl, let's just bang through them quick, because I think people, again, get out your phone, get out your calendar, and you might want to write some of these dates and put them in there for the ones that you want to go for.
They're going to be local to different people, right? So they're going to be in your area.
Yeah.
They're in your area. Mark down the dates in your calendar.
Yeah. So starting with the first one is May 17th. It's going to be the Foxwood Open. That one's been around for quite a while. It's out at Baden, Ontario. If you're going out there, spend some time practicing hole 1, because from what we understood from Chantel, it's a beast that's going to try and kick your butt. So
if you're not out in Ontario, also May 17th, spring runoff down in Lethbridge. We attended it last year. First tournament of the year for us. Not sure if we're going to revisit it this year. Maybe not. We'll see how things pan out. But if you're down in Lethbridge or in southern Alberta, May 17th, first one of the year, go down there. It's an A tier this year.
That's an upgrade. I think what they did was we heard about it when we were there last year. They were talking about putting tee pads in at Aperture Park. So I'm guessing that's what's happened, because a lot of times for an A tier, you need to have some sort of actual tee pads, not just dirt. So.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool. That'll be a nice upgrade for that tournament as well.
Yeah.
And Noah, of course, and Rebecca Johnson are always involved, and Noah Higgins, and great people. And so check that one out. Then May 24th,
and
this
Arthur.
is one we had. Oh, and Arthur, yeah. Arthur, is he a Basset Hound? What kind of dog is Arthur?
Yeah. No,
He's
Arthur's
such
a
a
Basset
cute
Hound.
dog.
Yeah.
So then May 24th, if you're out in New Brunswick, you've got an A tier coming your way. It's the Dieppe Open in Dieppe. And this is a new tournament as far as I've seen. Maybe it's been put on before, but we didn't do an A tier review on it last year. So
Yeah, no, we didn't see it. So that's a new one. June 28th, getting into June now. BC Open out there in Langley, BC. This is the amateur event. New for this year. There's a BC.
Sorry, what did you say? It's an amateur event?
It's an amateur event. Yeah. BC Open has 2 events, 2 A tiers. One on June 28th is an amateur event, amateur A tier. So that's awesome for if you're in the BC area.
Yeah, and I think part of that too, Daryl, is that the BC Open is one of the biggest tournaments in Canada, with over 400 people registering, I believe, last year. So that was for both AMs and for pros. So it's getting the only way to get more people in is either more courses or, I guess, 2 tournaments.
There you go.
So the next tournament, July 3rd, is Larger Than Life, happening up in Whitehorse, Yukon Territories. This will be the 2nd year for it. You got to check out the coverage that Park Pro put out. I've just started watching it myself. I think you've already finished.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic to see what they've got up there. They've got a lot of interesting elevation and sand and lakes. And I'm thinking so far, I've only heard the 3 openings for the Park Pro coverage. And the one for the Larger Than Life that Matt does is got to be the best one so far in my mind. So,
have you started watching the coverage yet?
Just watched round 1 of the
Okay,
front nine.
so the commentator, you know what I was talking about when I was saying to you, it's a great combination again. For those that want to go and watch it, Matt Lysak and Jeremy Gauthier. If you like their commentary, you're gonna love the Larger Than Life tournament there. Moving on into July 4th actually. Again, BC Open, Langley, BC. This is the pro event.
Mm-hmm. So that's it. I don't know what'll happen there. Maybe they're going to get some more U.S. Pros coming up, because it is going to be more focused on the pro side of it. So we'll see what happens when that comes around. Well, you know what I'm interested with that, Daryl, is if we decide to cover all the A tiers again in 2025,
Yep.
this might be the first time we get to have like an MA1 and an FA1
Yeah.
winner.
I
on
never
the
thought of
tournament. I
that.
just
That'd be
thinking
awesome.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Just when as we were talking about writing all these A tiers down, I was thinking, because like you said before, that kind of the fantasy podcast was kind of my iteration and things I put together, and we kind of worked on it together. But it was, you always say this is your baby sort of thing. Mm-hmm. We got more A tiers this year, and yeah, I didn't even think about that. We're gonna have to be doing an amateur A tier. That's awesome.
Yeah, that'll be
I'm getting excited.
so
now.
awesome.
Yeah.
So after that, July 10th, like a week later, you can head from Langley and head up to Kamloops, BC for the Tournament Capital Open. That was the first A tier I ever played in. We know that Carrie Neal is fantastic. She's kind of the head TD, but she has a whole team behind her that she'll always tell you is making that thing happen. And then this year, what's really cool about it is the 3 amateur days of tournament are offset by 1 day. So you'll start 1 day earlier than the pros, which means that you can stick around on the Sunday and you can watch, or the Monday, whatever it works out to be, I'm not sure, and watch the pros, follow them around, and we'll create a huge crowd for the MPO and FPO cards.
Yeah. She mentioned that when she was on our Around the Basket. I believe it was the Around the Basket episode that we did that she talked about it. Yeah. And that was one of the things that we brought up, is that we always... You you attend these events, you see the pros there, they're playing, but you never get a chance to watch them, because your event is always going on a different course. You never get to see them finish. You never get to see that final putt. This way, yes, you're starting a day early. You might have to take an extra day vacation to attend the event, but it's going to finish on I believe it is the Sunday. Stick around, follow the whole MPO, FPO cards around. That's a dream, right? Is to go around and follow a card, especially the MPO or FPO, watch these players play and throw shots that we can only dream of, and see it come down to the wire and actually get to see the champion crown. So that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. Moving in, we're already in July 10th. We're moving into August 16th. We're going back out east, as far as Ontario is east. Eastern Canadian Amateur Nationals. We covered it last year in the Canadian in our A-tier series. That's out at Bourget, Ontario. It's going to be another good tournament. A lot of good Eastern Canadian. I keep saying Eastern because it is Eastern as far as I'm concerned. A lot of pros that maybe a lot of our West Coast fans are not going to see. Watch them out at Eastern Canadian Amateur Nationals, August 16th.
Yeah. And then August 23rd, you can head out to the NADGT, so the National Amateur Disc Golf Tour Canada National Championships. And that's out in Pritis, Alberta. And Pritis, if you don't know, is just south of Calgary, and that's where WJ Homestead is. And last year, I played that 1-day event at WJ Homestead. Loved the course. I want to go back down to that tournament, except this time it's probably going to be a 3-day is my guess, if it's going to be the Canadian National Championships.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
August 29th, a week later, Falcons Flight down in Sundre, Alberta. We got a chance to go down there last year. Probably be on our radar to go down there again this year. 2 great courses down there at Aspen Meadows East and West. We had a great time down there last year. We got to see a lot of pros that we kind of, I don't want to say are our favorites, but people that we followed, and we actually got a chance to get out there and watch them play as well. So great community event, camping on site, limited cell phone service, lots of fires, lots of events going on afterwards. A great weekend, Falcons Flight down in Sundre, Alberta.
Yeah, if you've not been to Falcons, get to that one at least once, and we will tell you from experience, you either need to sponsor a hole if you want to guarantee your way in there, or you need to be ready. And we talk about that all the time, that tournaments are busy, but this is still one every single year. If you are not hitting register when the clock changes to the time of registration, you're going to be on a waiting list. And if you are on the waiting list, hang in there. Yeah. A lot of times you'll get on, but it's a tough tournament to get into if you're not quick.
We've said it before. Have all your information filled out. Wait till that timer ticks over. Hit register. And like you said, we had people that were doing that. They had it all filled out. They hit register as soon as they could go, and still ended up number 20 on the wait list. So you got to be quick.
You do. And then after that, August 29th, the next weekend, you can head out. Oh, no, that was August 29th. So September 5th is the next weekend. You can head out to Golden Eagle Open, which is in Cochin, Saskatchewan. A couple cool courses. One of the nice things we can tell you about that one is that there's a pop-up beach course that happens for that tournament. And the only time you can play it is for the Golden Eagle tournament. So,
yep. And then we talked about it earlier, September the 12th. The RIP, Canadian Nationals. This is a DGPT-Q series out in Port Hope, Ontario. Excuse me.
Yeah, it is.
So if you've watched the coverage, there was a great tournament, great players that came out and played in the MPO and FPO. No spoiler, but there was a great storyline in the FPO side of the RIP last year. In the open division, a lot of, like you mentioned before, we had Gannon, we had Jeremy Colling, we had the Robinson brothers, that whole group, Alden, Gavin Babcock, he was there as well. A lot of great Canadian players also playing on it. A great course. September 12th, Canadian Nationals. That'll be one where me and you, I think it's pretty much it's kind of a heavy pencil now. We've gone over it a few times.
It's one where it's ingrained on the paper. The paper has the mark on it.
If you try and erase it, you still see the imprint there. So I think it's pretty much guaranteed.
And when you get back from Canadian Nationals, you can head back out to Clearwater, where Nationals was last year on September 19th, and go to the Harvest Huck. And Harvest Huck, if you've never been out to Clearwater, make a trip out of it. Don't just go for the tournament, go for the whole experience, because there's a waterfall provincial park there and you can check that out. You get to play on a couple cool golf courses as well as play on the side of a ski hill. And when I mean on the side of a ski hill, it is on the side of a ski hill. There's the hole 9 and hole 18 are both ones where you're dropping so significantly that you throw a berg and you're worried that if the wind catches it, it's going to go too far. So it is an experience. If you've never done it, get out to Clearwater. They do a good job out there, and it's a great area to be in.
Wow. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. We're finally catching our breath. October 17th, back out in Ontario Provincial Disc Golf Championships in Hamilton. It's the last A tier of the year so far that's been registered. October 17th. That'll be an awesome tournament as well. We covered it last year in the Fantasy League.
Yeah, Spencer Young was the TD last year, and Chris Ozelins was a big part of the Ontario disc golf scene there and making these things happen. It's out in Hamilton, which could be using Christie Lake Conservation Area, one of the courses I have played, and it's a great course out there. The other thing about this one, though, is I don't know if you have to have an Ontario driver's license type thing, if you have to be a person from Ontario to play it, but I do know that you do have to earn your spot through an Ontario tournament. So I don't know if us Albertans could go out and play an Ontario tournament, earn our spot, and go back, or if they'd say, sorry, glad you earned a spot, but you're Albertan, you can go home and we'll do this ourselves here.
Yeah.
So be careful if you're putting that one in your calendar.
Yeah, but it's good for those local players that, get a chance to play in a tournament in an A tier, and you're not finding yourself having to hover over that registration button to get registered, right?
Right, definitely. And that's kind of the A tiers we know. The B tiers, C tiers, all of that will be coming. Keep an eye out for it. But the A tiers, those are the big tournaments. If you've been listening to our podcast for the last year and you've heard us talk to the MPOs and the FPOs from Canada, these are the tournaments you're going to see them. You might find them at your local Dink and Dunk tournaments and that type of thing. They will be at those. They'll play a C tier or a B tier and that type of thing. But if you want to see them at their best, playing the best, those are the tournaments that you want to put in your calendar.
And we can only hope for as much success as we had last year with the fantasy podcast, where we got to chat to the MPO, FPO winners, but also the TDs for the event, which I really enjoyed, giving kind of shining some light on the people that do all the hard work to make these tournaments a reality, and then also to get a kind of a feel for the behind the scenes, the background of sometimes we've spoken and they say it's touch and go right up until the end. We're still shoveling the tee pads. You're clearing off tee pads sort of thing, or putting the flags in, getting the OB marked and things like that. All those behind the scenes of what it takes to run an event, shining like I say, shining light on the TDs that do all the work that don't always get a lot of credit, as we've seen in the past. So I'm excited that we're going to have a lot more. You know, our summer's going to be, or our whole year is going to be busy, Jeremy.
Yeah, it is for sure. And like, and even as you say those TDs, you just think about it, go back to LTL and Ryan Norke and the fact that he was putting up this event, the first territorials disc golf tournament, and it's going to be a whole week, and you're doing it in Whitehorse, Yukon territories. Do you know how much, what do you want to call it? I want to say how much grit you have to have, how much determination in order to make something like that happen, because you don't know if anyone's going to fly up to Whitehorse. Like, that's a long way to go. But then it turned out to be a successful event. Glenn Whitlock was out there. They got to have a whole week of disc sports, not just disc golf. And the sun barely set, so they were playing to the wee hours of the morning. And now what's happening? It's coming back for a second year, right?
Absolutely.
So, and so we got to talk to those tournament directors. It's definitely a highlight of those episodes.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Daryl, we're pushing this episode. We're giving people a lot of information for the new year, and I'm happy to do that. I'm glad we can offer this.
People have celebrated pretty hard on New Year's Eve. This episode's obviously coming out on New Year's Day. People just want to relax, just want to chill. They just put the Disc Golf podcast on. They can recover listening to our sultry voices.
Yeah, they can clean up after the big party from the night before, throw out all the junk food out of the pantry like I plan on doing to get in fighting shape.
There you go. It all comes around.
It certainly does. When you're cleaning out the pantry, Jeremy's there with you.
Yeah.
Daryl says, good job too. But if we want to get out to the next part of what we want to cover, and we'll kind of hit this one a little quick, was people have asked us this before on the podcast, is it said, what players should we be watching out for? Who's going to make a difference in 2025? You know, we love all of our Canadian players, so we would say all of them. It's just an easy answer. We want to support them all. But I figured we could run through a few and maybe some names that we're going to be watching personally for 2025 and throw that out there. So
I've got two people highlighted that I wanted to talk about, but you can start wherever you want to start.
Yeah, no, I think you're good. Go ahead.
Okay, well, the first person that I want to highlight that I think is someone to watch for in 2025, and I think it's pretty much an obvious pick, someone that we've had on the podcast before. I think we've interviewed this person twice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did interview this person twice. Has been a professional since 2022, has played in a lot of professional events, but didn't take cash because they still wanted to play in some amateur events. Someone that really made a big name for themselves in 2024. First, kind of really came on our radar for winning the FJ18 tournament down in Winthrop, the USDGC Women's Disc Golf Championships. Rebecca Dawn. It's a name that's going to be, you're going to hear that name a lot in 2025.
Yeah, if you're watching, go ahead.
No, just going to say, played a lot of FPO tournaments, won a lot of FPO tournaments, but didn't take cash in the beginning. But they played an FPO, they won the FPO League, Puddle Stomp League in 2024 in FPO. They won the, we already mentioned it at Project 15, the Great Course Project 15. Putt confidently presents the Project 15 Open. They won that event as well. And then the tournament that really cemented her place as a staple on the FPO tour. And she mentioned that she's going to play a lot more FPO next year. The RIP. We mentioned it, that there was a bit of a storyline. This young, 18-year-old girl playing against Chantel Badinsky, playing against Taylor Chochek. A lot of big names that, could intimidate some people, but she just came out there, led the tournament from round one, took down the win at the RIP. That's a name that you're going to hear quite a bit, Rebecca Dawn. That's my first kind of, remember the name if that's the way we want to put it, or definitely pro to look out for in 2025.
Totally agree with you. And I think, you've even aged her a bit. I don't think Rebecca is 18 yet. I think she's still, I want to say maybe 17 is my guess. Like, she's a young up and comer.
Yeah. She might be.
So
I know she would have
but-
been to take down the FJ18 win, but I think I don't know. It's one of those things
But
you never ask a lady her age.
All I'm
so.
saying is that she's like still up and coming for sure. And that's the thing is you think the way that she plays that she's
right.
an adult, well over 18, and she's still working her way up, which is amazing. So imagine when she does get there.
Yeah.
But with Rebecca, we're going to see her on the DGPT tour as well as at a bunch of Canadian events. We're going to see Sophia Donica for sure, Chantel Badinsky. Those three are going to be staples, and they're all going to do a lot of stuff. We know Sophia has just exploded. Chantel's been a staple out there as well. That's going to be that three. If you're watching Disc Golf Pro Tour and you're scanning through on the FPO side, look for those three is my thing there.
Yeah.
And then otherwise, a person, of course, we've already mentioned her. I'm going to shout out Gabby Lee. Gabby played 19 tournaments last year, 906 rated. She won 10 of the events last year, and then of the other events, 4 of them she was on podium. So she's just, you check out everybody is putting up their socials and doing all their things. Her and Sylvain, her partner, they've been just going crazy with like the kettlebells and the workouts, and talk about fighting shape. I think I just need to go out to Victoria and spend a month with the two of them, and they'd have me in fighting shape faster than I could do it. So
yeah, they've been working hard on their fitness and getting in, not letting the off season be a downtime. They've definitely been putting the work in through the off season as well. So coming back stronger than ever in 2025, I have no doubt.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if we should, Daryl, but like other names, if you're just a person sitting down again, and we've had you with your phone out all day, writing down tournaments, writing down goals, that type of thing, writing down players if you didn't know. Do you want me to run? Do you want to run back and forth and just shout them? Yeah.
I mean, these are just people that,
you got to watch for. Right?
Yeah.
Like we highlighted a couple, but these are other ones. Make sure they're on your list of people to watch for. So I would say Terry Heiserbaum Hong.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for her.
Absolutely. Bailey Inglis. We had her on the podcast. She won Falcons Flight.
Amber Chason. We want to see her. She's out of Calgary, and we haven't talked to her yet, but we're hoping to get her on the show next year.
Yeah. Another person we've interviewed, Christy Lee.
Yeah. And Kristen Swirls.
Yeah. Colleen McInnes. We've had most of these people on the podcast, Jeremy, and the ones that we haven't, they're going to be names that we're going to want to get on. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Colleen McInnes we've had on before. Obviously went to Australia as well with Team Canada.
Great supporter of the podcast. Alicia Hums as well.
Yeah. Kat Johnson.
Sandy Hendel. We talked to her and Martin. They came on the show together because the two of them go to a tournament, chances are that's who everyone else is going to be fighting to win that tournament is either Sandy or Marty.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, like we said, you mentioned Chantal, Sophia, Joe Henderson. Obviously, is getting back into good fitness now after her injury at Falcons Flight there. So can't wait to see her in 2025 as well.
Karen Martell, another person who became one of our favorites very quickly.
Yeah, Jerry Ann Brownbridge. Keep an eye out for her as well. She's always, playing a lot of events, not always in FPO or FA1. She's always switching over to MA1 when time, when needs must.
Yeah. And then the whole Mowens family, Rachel, Jordan, and Julie Mowens, the three of them, they're always ripping up tournaments out in BC area and in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah. And then somebody locally we want to give a shout out as well. Someone who's always at the top of the leaderboard in her division as well, Jana Olsen. That's a name that if you're looking in all the different divisions, you're going to see that name at the top as well.
Yeah, and Jana travels a lot, and wherever Jana goes, she's pretty much got a chain out flag in her hand, and she's waving it for us. So we always appreciate that.
Exactly.
Should we go to the MPO side quick here?
Yeah. Well, this is another person that I wanted to highlight for someone who's going to do good in 2025. And we've already mentioned this person. And I wanted to bring to attention this person wanted to bring this person to attention for the reason that we already mentioned. And that person finished second at Larger Than Life, finished third at Falcons Flight, finished third at Gold Eagle, finished second at TCO. It's that person that's always just not quite is there, but just not quite having it to get over the finishing line. But I think in 2025, things are going to turn around. We're going to be interviewing this person. This is a prediction I'm going to make. In 2025, we're going to be interviewing this person as part of the fantasy podcast because they're going to win an A tier. that person, Luke Levesque.
Yes, guaranteed. Luke, we got your back, buddy. We
Yeah.
know you're gonna be there. If we can get out to a tournament that you're at, I don't know. You just tell us what you need us to do. Do you want me to play your theme song when you walk up? Do you want me to cheer really loud? Anything you need. Do you want me to just go away? Whatever it is that we can help you out with, we'll do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, he's been so close so many times and on that lead card in the final round. And then, whatever it is, just not been able to, get it across the finish line, whether it be that somebody else just happened to play better that day, whether, like you said before, about not being able to just play with that lead right till the finish line. But 2025, you heard it. You heard it here.
Luke
Levesque.
Yeah. Another person I'm going to put a mention out to is somebody local that we slept on last year.
Yeah.
And they made us know about it. And you know how they made us know about it? They made us know about it by getting on lead card at Canadian Nationals with Thomas Gilbert. And this person's in our backyard, Riley Douglas.
Yeah.
Watch out for that name. Riley is a machine. He's a local machine. And sometimes you overlook the locals because you're familiar with them. You know who they are. But not next year. Watch for Riley. It's not Edmonton. It's going to be across Canada. We'll see what tournaments Riley gets out to. And if he's in the mix, he's a good person to keep an eye on because you're going to see some exciting play. So good luck next year, Riley.
Yeah, I'll be looking for his name, making sure that if we see him on a car in a tournament in that division, we're not gonna not pick him. He's definitely going to be one of the names that's going to be picked.
Yeah, and quick correction. Good luck this year, Riley. I didn't mean to make that sound because we're in 2025 now. I didn't want to say good luck in 2026. That sounded like a shot if I did that.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, a ton of other names you can watch for, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've got the staples that we're going to pick. We've interviewed him a couple times. If he's on a card, you're always going to back him. Casey Hannemeyer.
Yeah, and if you're talking about that kind of Cranbrook area as well, another person up there in Invermere is Max Rajitnik as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We and again, all these names we've mentioned before, going into his 8th year with Prodigy, name that if you see, Noah Higgins.
Yeah, Cam Zanini.
Yeah,
Ontario guy, totally amazing personality. Check out our episode with him in the interview. Fantastic to talk to.
Yeah. Martin Hendel, like you said, if he's on a card, he's going to be up near the top competing for the lead. So that's a name you gotta. If you see him, he's going to be up there.
And I don't know if he likes it or not, but we love saying it. Tommy G. Thomas Gilbert. He's another one, of course, to watch out for. The bomb on that guy. If you can get to an A tier that Thomas is at and just see him throw one long drive, that's enough. You'll be like, wow. You're just going to be in awe. So get out there and check out Thomas Gilbert.
Yeah. Hopefully you don't see any Muskoka layups.
That's right.
Chris Bork, another name.
Yeah, he's one that we haven't
for 2025.
About.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Calvin Rorda as well. It's kind of a name we've heard, but we don't know a ton about, but keep an eye on him.
Yeah. Nick Culver.
Yeah. Eric Weeb
Miguel,
as well.
Yeah. Eric Weeb. Yeah, absolutely.
And then what else?
Yeah. We've got some more names that we're just going to get some shout outs to locally again. Someone who's always plays well. Gabe Piska.
Yeah. Gabe's a great guy. We love him, and he's been on the show multiple times. You can check him out if you want. Dylan Gowdy. It was also another up-and-coming young guy who's been ripping it up. He won the PEI tournament. That was
right.
That we had the A tier this year.
The Diameter Open.
Well. That's right. Thank you for
that. Ryan Watson. That's a name.
Yeah. Have you been checking out Ryan Watson? If you want to see Ryan Watson, he's on BC Open coverage and then again on LTL coverage.
Yeah.
And he's a guy with Park Pro, that is.
Yeah.
And if you hadn't seen him before, he's got style. He's got some crazy like hammer shots and scuba shots. He's got so many throws. He's a great guy to watch.
Yeah, and he's got judge. Looking at myself, he's got quite a physique that you want to. If you see his outline, if you see this person walking towards you, you're going to know who it is.
Yes, for sure.
You want to go on with the next one, Jeremy?
Oh, is it me next? Chris Oslands. Chris
Yeah.
Oslands. Yeah, sorry about that. But yes, definitely check him out because he's a staple out in Ontario. And if he comes out west, get a chance to meet him. Great guy, does so much for disc golf.
Yeah. Another name that you'll be familiar with if you've been watching the fantasy episodes, Ezra Lockington. It's only a matter. Well, I mean, I think he's won a few tournaments. You know, maybe not on the A tiers, but he's always been in the mix.
Yeah. And of course, our good buddy Miguel Alvarado. Check him out. He's amazing.
Yeah, he's always fun to watch. And whether you see him watch him in person or on the Park Pro coverage, he's always fun to watch. So speaking of Park Pro coverage and those tournaments that we already mentioned, another name that's, you know, is so good to watch, so great to watch him putt. He's got an amazing putt on him, Carver Whitford.
Yes, great kid too. And he's just a young guy as well coming up. Like, I don't know if he's even hit 20 years old yet. He might be still a teenager.
Yeah, I think he's past his teens, I think, but he's definitely young. Got a great future ahead of him as well.
Yeah, and then if you want to see a killer in the MP40 division, it's Chance Stad out of BC. He's amazing, and he's such a smart guy and a fun guy. He's always got some pretty cool stamped discs. He's right now just on social media. He's putting together mystery boxes for anybody who wants to buy a mystery box.
Right.
And if you can get a chance to buy a mystery box and you're an Axiom MVP player, I think you should take him up on it. He'll put something good together for you.
Yeah. There you go. That was our 2025 names to watch. We pretty much just listed everybody, you know, in the FPO, MPO.
Do you think so? I think we left out, like, we probably just scratched the surface in some cases.
Probably.
There's so many good names, right?
Yeah.
Like, because there's going to be someone who says, "Hey, you left me out," and I'm like, "Well,
exactly, yeah." Well, that's the downside of always doing your picks or ones to watch or whatever, because, or even when you try and thank somebody, right? It's a double-edged sword, because on one hand you want to give credit where credit's due, but that one or two people that you leave out, then you feel bad because you didn't mention them.
Well, I don't know if it always works that way, because I found a lot of times with the two of us, people will say, "Thanks, Daryl," and then that's it. And I'm thinking that might have been intentional. No, just kidding.
I'm gonna say
only two of us. How could you forget?
I mean, that's why we put the names underneath, you know, our pictures, so that people remember who's who. One's got a beard, one's bald.
Yes, exactly. Well, the other thing we'll say, so what did we do here, Daryl? It's 2025. It was the first episode. It's a big one for you. We hope it gets you through your New Year's Day. We talked about our goals. We've got some giveaways. Don't forget to go back and make sure you get in to be part of that. We talked about some players. We talked about the tournaments. Hopefully your phone is full of things to remember and stuff to get you started off well for 2025. But not only that, we're going to start 2025 off with a bang next week when we get back to our regular interviews. And you're going to want to check out this person. Maybe you know him, maybe you don't, but his name's Brian Henniger, and he's from PDGA Canada, and he's PDGA's international director. And another thing, Daryl, and I think this was something
that's not enough.
That wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Is that he's also in the Disc Golf Hall of Fame. So we're having a Disc Golf Hall of Famer. We've already had one.
I was going to say, it's our second.
It's our second. It'll be our first of 2025. So I'm excited because when we talk to Brian, like, we can ask him what PDGA's got going on for next year, what things are happening. So if you've got a question for Brian, start putting it in the comments, send us a note or send us a message, and we'll see if we can work that into the conversation, or just join us live and throw it in the chat at that point.
Yeah. We probably should put that out there for all of our episodes going forward, that if you like what we do, don't forget to follow us on all our socials, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. We're not active on Twitter. Don't follow us there. Facebook. Also, if you like this, subscribe on YouTube. This is where we want to grow the podcast. Like you said, that's one of our goals, to get to 500. It's not the goal, but it would help us a lot if we got to that 500. But also, if you really like supporting us, go over to Patreon, because if you become a Patreon member, you actually get to, you know, it's pretty much a guarantee that if you ask a question that we're going to ask one of our guests, that we're going to ask it. You're
Within
going to have
reason, asterisks.
But it's pretty much guaranteed.
Yes.
More so than if you just comment on Instagram or on the YouTube, where you want to, we're going to have some benefits for our Patreon our members.
For sure.
There are other benefits, like you can watch this episode, any live episodes we do, any pre-records, you'll get to watch them early. You'll get full access to those early. Also, the Around the Basket episodes, those are Patreon only, so you'll get to watch those live, join in with the conversation, which we heavily interact with our chat on those episodes, Jeremy, where we have a bit of an informal discussion, debate, conversation about disc golf and all things related to it.
Yeah, we usually get a guest on for those, and it's less of the interview style and more of a conversation.
Right. Yeah.
And then, what about the other way too, is if you don't want to do Patreon, you want to hit us up for one type of support where it's a one and done, go to our link tree and check out our buy us a beer or buy us a coffee or buy us a iced vanilla latte.
In a coupe glass.
Mm-hmm. So that's ways you can support us for sure. And thanks to all the Patreon members who have already joined. We're going to keep making that product better and better for you, just as well as the interviews. And we're going to have so many interviews. We've got interviews lined up right until the season starts. And when we hit the season, we'll get back to going to the FPO and MPOs. But until then, you're going to have all types of interviews like the one with Brian Henniger next week.
Yeah. Well, I think we should finish this episode, Jeremy, the way that we've been finishing our episodes recently. I mean, I don't know if you've done it recently, but we have our disc duel to do.
Oh, do you want to do that on
Absolutely.
Here? Yeah. I know we've gone long, but hey, why don't we start it out with some disc duel? I love it.
Yeah. For people that don't know about disc duel, DISCDLE is a disc golf version of Wordle. Everybody's heard of Wordle by this point. Discduel.com. If you do register, there is an option that I found that you can we can have multiplayer. You can play with friends and things like that. So one thing we've done on the podcast is, as we finish out the episode, mainly on our Around the Basket episodes, but we may as well do it today just because I'm feeling generous.
All right.
Let's bring it up.
Okay, Daryl, you know what? The first guess is already decided. Ali Smith has helped us decide on the first guess.
You want to go mantra?
We're going mantra.
Okay.
And, we can't. Can we? Is ThoughtSpace in there? Yeah. Maybe ThoughtSpace isn't one of the manufacturers. No, I don't think it covers
ThoughtSpace is not in there.
Okay, well then I guess you get to throw the first guess.
Well, I normally go with a hex. Giving you my secret here is the reason why I normally go with hex is because it's a mid-range. It's in that middle of the pack, and also it eliminates if it's, because with what happens a lot of times when you guess a disc, you'll get a gray icon if you're very close. And what I find with MVP and Axiom is if you eliminate MVP or Axiom right off the bat, you don't have to worry about it being one of those two manufacturers.
And especially with them having their half ones as well. But let me just, because we've got listeners who are listening audio-wise, so we're on the Discduel website. It's going to give us 6 guesses to try and figure out what a disc is, what the things that it's going to report back to us when we put in a disc, if you want to throw that back up for us, is It's going to give us the measure, the speed, the glide, the turn, and the fade, and then it's going to give us arrows to tell us if we're close, what direction we need to go in. So Daryl put in hex, and that's going to be a 5-5 minus 1-1, and what we're seeing is that we're wrong on the manufacturer. So that means it's not Axiom, it's not MVP. It's the speed needs to be faster than a 5, the glide needs to be less than a 5, the turn has to be less than a -1, which is telling us it's either a 0 or a positive turn.
Or a 0.5.
Or a 0.5 could be in there. And then the fade needs to be more than 1. So we're looking for an overstable disc here, Daryl. The only thing that's throwing me off is just that it's got to be a high-speed overstable disc.
Well, it doesn't have to be high speed. It just has to be faster than a 5. So, I mean, we could be going up to 7. If it was gray, it would be closer to like a 6, right?
Oh, okay. So why don't you got an Innova that would fit that one? Because I know you're the Innova guy.
Well, I guessed hex, so it's your turn to guess.
Oh man, why don't we do like? Do you think like a
Thunderbird? So let's just go back here for people that are playing along. So it needs to be faster than a 5, less glide. So we're looking at something like maybe a 7-4, 9-4, 9-3. Turn less than -1, so I'm guessing 0. So and then faster or more fade than 1. So I would look in the range of like a 9402 or 9403, like somewhere around that
Does a
area.
destroyer fit that?
No, destroyer is -1/3, so the turn would be correct.
Okay.
I wouldn't go. I mean, this is where
You'd kinda stay
people
close
have
to the
different
middle.
strategies. I would
Yeah.
go up by 2 or 3 speed. If you want to jump right up to like a 12, 13 speed, and then if you get lower speed, then you know what range you're working within.
Gotcha.
A
Now, what
force
about?
or a crank. I think those are 03, 04s.
All right, let's go with the force.
I think.
This is where I need to learn my discs better for this game.
Yeah, I'm not big on Discraft. I will say that.
All right, so it's not Discraft then, but we got the 0 correct. Our
So-
speed needs to be significantly slower than 12, so it's closer to a 5 than it is to a 12.
So yeah, I guess I got that kind of a little bit backwards there. I think if you get yellow, then you're close, right? If you get a black like we
Yellow is
did there,
within 3.
yeah. So the speed is closer to a 5 than a 12. You're right. So we've got the 0. So it's going to be like a 04.
Now, what's a Thunderbird? No,
Not-
it has to be
yeah.
less. What about like a 7? Do you have a 7 that you can think of?
So
Somewhere
a
in that
04, because that's what we're looking at, right? We're looking at
Yeah.
a 04 and less glide. So probably a 404. I'm thinking, I was going to go like a zone, but no, it has to be faster than a 5.
What's a
7404.
Captain's Raptor, or is that that's a disc
It's a
Raptor,
9
right? So that
speed, I
wouldn't be-
believe. Let's go Cap Wrap. Because at least that'll... Well, no, it can't be because it's not Discraft.
Right.
So-
So let's get an Innova in there just to get an Innova.
Well, let's go
Yep.
Firebird because
We know that one's...
at least the thing that I like to do also is just eliminate manufacturers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, it is an Innova.
It's a
It's
0
less
4.
speed than a... So we know it's
It's way less than a 9. So it has to be like
204 or 104. It can't be a 1 because it's less speed than a 9, but more speed than a 5. So we're looking at 6, 7, 8. I mean,
Yeah, and because the yellow was there for the speed, right? The yellow tells us that it's closer to a 5
Yeah.
speed. So we're
maybe
looking
a
for like
T-Bird
an-
3. A T-Bird is 7502.
Yeah,
And I
let's do a
think
T-Bird 3.
I think a T-Bird 3 is 8.
We're in your range now that we're into Innova.
Right. Okay, ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh. So it's less than an 8.
But we're closer now.
Yeah, so it's a 6 or a 7. And a T-Bird is only 402. Okay.
What do you think? What do you know? Because I would, if I'm doing MVP,
Yeah.
I'm saying a resistor. What's the resistor for Innova?
And this is the problem that we have with Innova, and it's been brought up in the past, that Innova has so many molds. We could be looking at a mold that it could be, what is there's a really overstable, hang on, I'm going to scroll through the list. One thing that when you start to type in the box,
Then it
You
shows
get a
you all
list.
the available discs, right?
yeah, you get a list of all the available discs that they have in there right now. So if there's a disc that you're thinking of and you can't quite remember, the Banshee.
Okay, let's give it a go.
Yeah, I think that is a very overstable 7-speed.
Banshee.
Oh,
Man.
so it's
It's a
it's a 6-speed. So now we've narrowed it down because we've gone 9, 8, 7, and we've had to lower the speed each time.
6 speed with like a
2 glide. 6, 2, 0, 4.
Who's got a 6204? For
Man.
somebody in the chat, there's only one person watching, but hopefully at this
Innova,
point, hopefully we can
6204.
guess. And we've got one guess left, Daryl.
Well, I mean, I know you say that I'm the Innova guy, but I'm just going to scroll through. I know this probably isn't very good audio to listen to, but I'm going to scroll through the list
different,
until I can just quickly see a 640. What is it? 6403? 6404.
403 or 4. 640. No, it's a 6204.
Sorry, 6204.
Now, all of those disc people out there are probably screaming at us, Daryl, the ones who really know their discs. So when Dylan happens to catch this episode, or
Yeah.
maybe Alex Penny, if he's listening at this point, they're going to come up and they're going to be like, I know exactly what that is. There's only 16204.
Like, how did you not
From
get that?
Innova.
And that's the thing is that, I mean, we could have already scrolled past it because there's a lot of names out here that sometimes you're like, oh yeah, I know that one, I know that one, I know that one. But then often there's a name that might come in, like a Firestorm. I've never heard of a Firestorm. So I
Right.
don't even know who makes.
It's Innova.
Is it Innova Firestorm? I mean, I would assume it is because of the fire.
I almost
Name.
want to go with Gazelle because I don't even know what that is, but it seemed like it was.
You want to go for the?
don't
at this point, I don't
Let's
even
give it a
know.
shot. We'll learn what a gazelle is. That's
So
what we
one
will.
other thing, I mean, we could reveal the hint, but I'm guessing it's just going to tell us that it's Innova.
Yeah, or it's going to tell us things that we already know.
Yeah, I mean, we may as well go for the hint. Oh, it's a 5.5. So there you
Oh.
go. So, it could be a Cayman, but I don't
Okay,
think
do it.
that. I mean, that's the only 5.5 is that I know.
Let's
But
give
I
it
don't
a
think
go.
it's-
Maybe that was it.
So what are we looking for? 5.5, 2, 0.
004.
It could be a Cayman or it could be a Gator, but I forget what Gator speed is. Ah, there you go. We saved it.
Oh,
It-
good job, Daryl. The hint came
The
through.
the
for us.
5.5 is what sparked it for me. I didn't know
Yeah,
that was a. There you go. 5.5204. And the only reason I know that it was or I know of the Cayman is because we did
Sophia
a.
Donica, right? Or
No, hers is a J. The Cayman came
Oh.
from our Edgar president, Brock Giacchetti. He was
There you
selling one. We put it out on our Edmonton Disc Golf Discord channel. We have a buy and sell channel. He had been selling a lot of discs. I needed an overstable mid. Didn't realize that it was a 04. I just, it was an Innova disc that I never had. So I bought it from him. I've used it. First time I used it was at Dog Rump Creek when we went out there for the Youth Unlimited tournament.
Right.
And it worked for me. I wouldn't say it's a 04 how I throw it. And, whether Brock had beaten it in a little bit, but yeah, that's kind of what sparked in my mind was the 5.5 because I did look it up recently and found out that it was a 5.5. So we got there.
Well, that was great. Way to go.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've gotten it in a while, and that was all because of you, because normally I'm the one who doesn't get it. So if you join our Patreon and you want to be part of our Distal group, if you've never heard of it before, hopefully it's something that interests you. It doesn't always translate as well. It's like we said on the audio method of the podcast, but it is one of those things when it comes to doing it daily and putting it in the Patreon chat, we have a good time, and we got some really good players in the Patreon as well.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm just posting it in there right now, and I did notice that 2 hours ago, somebody posted and guessed it after 3 guesses.
Yeah, that was Brock.
No, it was Dylan.
Oh, Dylan. Nice
Yeah,
job,
Dylan guessed it. No hints. Guessed it after 3. His second guess, he had everything right apart from the speed.
Wow.
He had the
Good
manufacturer, the glide, the turn, the fade, and then obviously it kind of, Dylan knows his discs as well.
job. He does know his discs. So, guys, thanks. Happy New Year to everybody out there. We hope that you get a lot of throwing done this year. You enter as many tournaments as you want. You get as much disc golf involvement as you can. We hope that your drives are released flat. We hope that they fly with perfect S curves the way the disc was meant to throw. And we hope that when they get to the basket, there's one thing that those discs don't do.
What's that,
That
Jeremy?
they'll never do, Daryl.
What will they never
We
do?
hope your discs don't chain
Chain
out.
Thanks, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.